Barcelona's 25/26 game plan is straight up terrifying.
They have a certain way of telling you that you need to transcend people in the way that the team plays. They don't talk about winning, they talk about how you play and how you can communicate with the community. It's like a mission to be able to make people enjoy what they're doing. Whether if it's the fans or people on the field or the coach, you have to enjoy what you're doing. That is why at Barcelona, when you win, you need to win well.
And at the heart of this nightmare for Europe is Hansi Flick.
Ell té una idea, ell creu en lo seu, futbol modern, futbol molt actiu, molt dinàmic, molta mobilitat, pressió alta, lateral contra lateral, lo de la línia, em sembla...
The German coach has taken a club in chaos and rebuilt it into a machine so ruthless, so complete, that it now looks like the most frightening team in world football. First, he did what seemed impossible. He resurrected the stars. Rafinha is back to his explosive best. Lewandowski is scoring like a man 10 years younger. Pedri and Frenkie de Jong are finally dominating midfields the way Barca fans always dreamed they would. Koundé is unshakable. Rashford has rediscovered his fire. And even Eric Garcia looks reborn under Flick's system. Then, he unleashed the next wave of La Masia. Lamine Yamal has become the best player in the world at just 18 under Flick's guidance. Alejandro Balde has turned into a locomotive down the flank. Fermin Lopez now plays like a soldier of war. The universal piece in Flick's chessboard. Pau Cubarsí looks every bit the generational defender he was promised to be, while Marc Casado and Bernal are stepping up to show their quality. And Flick didn't stop there. He repatriated Dani Olmo, now one of the best super subs in Europe. He pulled Wojciech Szczęsny out of retirement and turned him into the best goalkeeper on the continent, mentoring the mind-blowing talent of Joan Garcia. And he added future stars like Rooney Bargi to complete a squad that is as deep as it is deadly. But the most important achievement, Flick has forged a family, a group of players who not only follow his philosophy, but live it. Last season they won the Spanish treble, scoring a jaw-dropping 174 goals, the most terrifying attack in Europe. And now it's even worse, because for 25/26, Flick has transformed the midfield into the most dominant engine across the top 5 leagues. Pedri and Frenkie de Jong now rule every pitch they step on. The ball circulation is sharper, the positioning smarter, and when you combine that with the lethal attack, the invincible goalkeeping, and the mature defence, the result is chilling.
So who do you think wins it?
Barcelona.
Really?
With Rashford. It's not based off Rashford, no, but...
This is not just a strong Barcelona. This is a Barcelona that feels inevitable. At Barcelona, everything starts with 3 words: pressure, possession, and position. The 3 Ps are the DNA of Barca, a philosophy first installed by Johan Cruyff in the late 80s and early 90s, and still the identity of the club today.
The whole reason Pep got the Barcelona job is because Cruyff discouraged, basically looked at Mourinho and told the Barcelona, this guy's not a Barcelona manager, and pushed the B team coach.
Yeah.
He's basically the one that pushed him to the forefront.
That's insane when you think about it.
You look at Pep's 2009 Barcelona team, or even 2011, with Messi as the false 9, 4-3-3 with 2 flying fullbacks, 2 narrow wingers. That's basically Cruyff's dream team.
It is more than just a playing style, it is the foundation upon which every manager has been judged. Pep Guardiola lived it and took it to its peak. Luis Enrique adapted it with intensity. Tito Villanova protected it. Even Xavi, despite his struggles, tried to replicate the essence he had absorbed as a player. And when Barca looked outside its own house, they searched for coaches who could keep the flame alive. Ricard Martino Valverde. Hansi Flick belongs to that group of outsiders. But he is not just any outsider. Flick himself has admitted, "My vision of football is similar to what Barca stands for. From my first club, I studied the Dutch school and Johan Cruyff's philosophy. That is why his arrival felt like a natural fit. And yet, Flick has done something no one expected. He respected the DNA, the pressure, the possession, the positional play, but he also broke it open, modernised it, and injected it with his own German edge. Under Xavi, Barca had become predictable, one-paced, easy to read. Flick has turned them into a machine. On the pitch, the keys are clear. An asymmetric 4-2-3-1, layered movements in build-up, an aggressive pressing system that suffocates opponents, positional freedom for his stars, and a defensive line that squeezes the pitch to trap rivals in offside. Off the pitch, the revolution is just as strong. Meals together at the club, zero tolerance for lateness, strict sleep tracking, and a culture of no complacency. With Flick, there is always another detail to improve, always another standard to raise. This mix, Barca's eternal DNA fused with Flick's ruthless discipline, is what makes today's Barcelona so terrifying. Hansi Flick, at 60 years old, transformed FC Barcelona with a formula based on calm but demanding leadership, fearless trust in young players, tactical bravery, and full squad management. Without seeking the spotlight, he has reconnected the team with the fans, restored their competitive identity, and navigated the club's complicated environment with intelligence. The result? The first ever domestic treble in Spanish football history, La Liga, Copa del Rey, and UEFA Super Cup in his very first season. It is also worth noting that Flick won all 4 Clásicos in one season for the first time. His authority is built on mutual respect.
And so now you put all these pieces together and you say, add the talent, the young talent, with the structure, with the manager, with the experience, with the goals, they look like a really good team that just took a completely different step to a next level.
He is close to his players, explaining decisions and embracing them after substitutions, but inflexible with rules. Lateness and poor attitudes are not tolerated, as Koundé, Rashford and Rafinha recently discovered. Flick's leadership's not authoritarian, but it is crystal clear. Everyone knows the rules from day one. One of Flick's bravest calls has been his faith in youth. Under him, Lamine Yamal exploded into superstardom. Without overprotecting or overexposing him, Flick gave continuity and full trust, and El Niño did the rest. 18 goals, 25 assists, decisive contributions in every Champions League knockout game, goal contributions in all 4 Clásicos, and the title-winning strike in La Liga. But it wasn't only Yamal. Kubasi became untouchable. Fermin grew into a powerhouse, while Girard, Martin and Hector Fort received key minutes in the toughest stretch of the season. Tactically, Flick has stamped his courage on Barca. He has built a high defensive line, forcing opponents into risk. It's not conservative football, it's football with vertigo. In the 0-4 demolition of Real Madrid at the Santiago Bernabeu, Los Blancos fell into the offside trap 11 times. That is Flick's bravery in pure form. He has also broken the old dogma of the 4-3-3 without losing the soul of positional play. His main shape is the 4-2-3-1, a platform that unlocked the very best of Pedri and Frenkie de Jong. For Flick, formation is just a starting point. The real focus is movement, pressing, and the flow of the ball. The freedom he gave Pedri turned him into the most important player in the squad. Pedri was La Liga's leader in ball recoveries, 166. The man with the most passes, 2,672, and the engine of Barca's tempo. Frenkie, meanwhile, mastered every role in midfield, completing the most powerful double pivot in Europe. Up front, Flick made 3 decisive tweaks. Rafinha was liberated, Lewandowski was fixed as a pure striker instead of dropping deep, and Yamal was nailed to the right wing. The effect was devastating. Barcelona became a goal-scoring machine. Valladolid 7-0, Girona 4-1, Villarreal 5-1, Bayern Munich, the eternal tormentor, destroyed 4-1, Real Madrid humiliated 4-0 at the Bernabeu, and then 5-2 in the Supercopa final. 19 big wins in a single season, absolute dominance. The numbers of the Trident are terrifying. Rafinha with 34 goals and 25 assists, Lewandowski with 42 goals, and Yamal with 18 goals and 25 assists. Together they scored 94 goals. To put that into perspective, Real Madrid's entire La Liga squad managed only 78. Flick built the most feared attack in world football, and he did it by bringing order, freedom, and discipline into perfect balance. And the scariest part is that this season the script hasn't changed. Barca keeps smashing teams with frightening ease. Their favourite victim, Valencia, have already been torn apart. Once again, 6 goals conceded in a single match. A brutal reminder that this attack hasn't slowed down after the treble. It's only grown sharper and even more ruthless. How do you even improve on a season where you won everything in Spain? That's the question Hansi Flick had to answer, because his first year gave Barca a domestic treble, but left one debt unpaid: the Champions League. And in Europe, the competition is brutal. Liverpool, under Arne Slot, have built a £1 million machine that plays devastating football. PSG, with Luis Enrique, are rewriting the rules of modern tactics. Bayern Munich, powered by global strength and companies' bold ideas, look more dangerous than ever. And of course, Real Madrid, now shaped by Xabi Alonso's hand, are always lurking. Flick knew that to survive in this jungle, he couldn't just repeat what he did last season, he had to evolve it. And that's exactly what he's done. What Hansi Flick is building this season at Barcelona is nothing short of a project of total consolidation. His mission is not just to repeat what was achieved last year, but to create a level of consistency never seen before at the club. And at the very heart of this terrifying machine sits the double pivot of Pedri and Frenkie de Jong, two midfielders who now dominate games like no one else in Europe. Pedri, finally free from his injury problems, has gone from being a fragile promise to the engine that never stops. Last season he featured in 56 of Barca's 57 matches, thanks to the medical plan designed in the United States and the physical program led by Julio Tous. But it's not just his durability, Pedri is now lethal. Give him a pocket of space and he will hurt you, either threading impossible passes to Rashford, Lewandowski, Rafinha, Yamal or Olmo.
They have one guy that also controls the tempo of the game. And people often go to the killers, and you will go to Rafinha, but don't say...
Or pulling the trigger himself from distance. Every attack flows through him, and every phase of possession bends to his intelligence. Beside him, Frenkie de Jong has reached his prime. He moves with the elegance and clarity he showed at Ajax, but now with the tactical maturity of a true leader. With Frenkie, Barca always has two guarantees. If they have the ball, he'll progress it cleanly. If the opponent has it, he'll win it back and launch the counter. Together, Pedri and Frenkie give Barcelona something priceless: calm under pressure, aggression when recovering, and an unstoppable rhythm when in control.
That was one of the best performances I've ever noticed live, like with my eyes. But he was everywhere. I think after that game, he had like 155 passes, like 250 touch. But it was like numbers I've never seen.
It is impossible not to draw as the parallel. Pedri is today's reincarnation of Xavi, dictating the tempo, while Frenkie brings the projection and creativity once seen in Iniesta. And they complement each other with a rotating third man, Dani Olmo, Fermin or Gavi, to complete a midfield that feels unbreakable. This is the midfield that can take Barcelona back to the top of Europe. The perfect example came against Newcastle. The English side pressed hard, suffocating the Catalans in the opening minutes. But once Barca took hold of the ball, everything ran through Pedri and Frenkie. Pedri set the rhythm, Frenkie provided the clean exits, and together they dismantled Newcastle's pressure. Even Anthony Gordon admitted afterwards. Barcelona's defence was supposed to be weakened after the departure of Inigo Martinez, and yet Hansi Flick has done the opposite. He has built a backline that looks stronger, more reliable, and more intimidating. And it all starts with the goalkeeper, the man who has already become one of the most important signings of the season, Joan Garcia. Joan Garcia didn't arrive as a star, but as a promise backed up by numbers that are impossible to ignore. Last year, in La Liga, he made 145 saves, more than any other keeper in the division. That was the backbone of Espanyol's survival in the top flight, and the reason the young Spaniard caught Barca's eye. But it's not just about quantity, it's the quality of those stops. His goals prevented stood at an incredible plus 7.49, meaning he stopped almost 8 goals more than expected. To put that in perspective, Wojciech Szczesny, himself a Champions League veteran, only registered plus 1.12, while both Ter Stegen and Iñaki Peña had negative figures. That single stat shows everything. Joan Garcia is not just reacting, he is outperforming the models, producing saves that shouldn't be possible. His reflexes are lightning, his positioning calm under fire, and his ability to build play from the back fits perfectly with Flick's Barca. He is not just making saves, he is starting attacks. A goalkeeper who feels like the first midfielder in the system. Then there's the save percentage. Garcia finished at 74%, towering over Szczesny 64.7%, Ter Stegen 64.5%, and Peña 63.8%. It means nearly 3 out of every 4 shots on target were stopped by him. In Espanyol, he was constantly under siege. At Barca, with a tighter backline, his numbers can only get scarier, and we have already seen that in moments like his miraculous stop at St James Park against Newcastle. Or the reflex saves in La Liga that kept points alive when the game seemed lost. Even Szczesny has admitted publicly that Joan Garcia is destined to become the best goalkeeper in Spain. and his own role now is to mentor him on that path. For Barcelona, this signing doesn't just cover the goal, it transforms the psychology of the defence. A young, fearless keeper, already producing miracle saves and doing it in the most demanding stage. And if this is the new wall protecting Barca's net, wait until you see the line of defenders standing in front of him. Barca's defence is perhaps the boldest tactical adjustment Hansi Flick has imposed. The German chose to squeeze the pitch to the limit with a high line designed to trap opponents offside again and again. And it worked. Just ask Mbappe, who ended up frustrated in La Liga's clashes with Barca as he kept falling into the trap. But of course, such a plan demands absolute concentration. Defenders must be switched on 200% for the full 90 minutes. One single lapse and the opponent can break through and punish hard. Last season, the success of this system rested on an unusual pairing, the experience of Inigo Martinez, battle-hardened over the years, combined with the raw talent of Pau Cubarsí, still only 17, but already seen as a generational talent. Together, they gave Barca a near-perfect balance: reliability, character, and freshness. However, Martinez's move to Al Nassr forced Flick to rethink his backline. The coach's answer has been clear: rotate Cubarsí's partners, with the teenager now established as the leader of the defence. Depending on the opponent, Flick has lined up Christensen, Ronald Araujo, or Eric Garcia, each bringing different qualities. Christensen offers calmness and reading of the game, Araujo brings muscle and aggression, and Eric provides clarity when playing out from the back. All revolve around Cubarsí, who at such a young age already acts as the boss of the line. On the flanks, Flick has kept another of his big weapons, Alejandro Balde and Jules Koundé. The former, currently injured, has turned into a locomotive down the left, while Koundé remains a key piece in build-up and attacking positioning. His ability to push the team high into the opposition half creates numerical advantages that fit perfectly with Barca's philosophy of possession and pressing. In short, from what looked like a weakened line, Flick has built a defence that is solid, flexible, and with a talented leader in Cubarsí, and all of this without abandoning his risky high-line gamble. In conclusion, with those rotations, Flick is trying to tighten up a defence that has at times looked vulnerable, and the numbers don't lie. The German is still chasing balance, with only 3 clean sheets in 6 matches so far. Flick knows it better than anyone if he manages to bring this defence up to the same level of perfection as his lethal attack. The rest of Europe won't stand a chance. And now pay close attention to these names: Fermín López, the best attacking midfielder in the world; Rafinha, the best left winger on the planet; Lamine Yamal, the best right winger and the best player in the world; Robert Lewandowski, one of the deadliest strikers alive; Rooney Bargi, the future of the club; Ferran Torres, the sharpest weapon of Flick right now; and Marcus Rashford, the finest talent to come out of United's academy, and now Hansi Flick's new resurrection project.
I think I have to look a little bit back because I really follow Marcus since he started with Manchester, and I always said, wow, what kind of player he is. He's unbelievable. He has speed, but also one against one situation, it's really fantastic. So, and also finishing, it's unbelievable.
Just reading those names already tells you everything about the firepower Barcelona have under Flick. But what makes it truly terrifying is that all of them are performing at their absolute peak. And the numbers back it up. 5 matches played, 16 goals scored. That's 6 more than Real Madrid and Villarreal combined in the same stretch. Let's begin with Marcus Rashford, the latest victim of Manchester United's talent shredder. Once discarded and forgotten at Old Trafford, Rashford has already delivered 2 brilliant assists in La Liga and scored 2 stunning Champions League goals for Barcelona. His brace against Newcastle wasn't just a statement, it was a dagger for United fans, who could only watch in disbelief as another world-class player slipped through their fingers. More importantly, Rashford has brought balance to Flick's left flank. He's the perfect partner for Pedri's game management, the ideal link for Bold on the overlap, and another sharp option to combine with Rafinha when the attack switches sides. In a Barca system that often leans heavily towards Yamal and Koundé on the right, Rashford has added a new weapon on the left that makes this team even harder to stop. If he keeps building momentum at this pace, we may be looking at the best loan deal in years, and one Barca would be mad not to make permanent. Up front, it's double trouble. On one side, you've got Robert Lewandowski, the striker many said was finished, a player who some thought only came to Barcelona to cash in. Well, the Polish machine silenced every critic with 103 goals in 150 games since joining in 2022. That's 71 goals in La Liga. 19 in the Champions League, 7 in the Copa del Rey, and 5 in the Spanish Super Cup. For a player supposedly past his prime, those numbers are monstrous. And behind him lurks Ferran Torres, the shark who refuses to stop scoring. Already with 4 league goals this season, he's chasing Mbappe in the Pichichi race. Ferran has shown he's not just a stopgap, he's the heir in waiting. Long shots, predator positioning, ruthless finishing inside the box, and above all, a killer's mentality. This is the best version of Ferran Torres we've ever seen. Now we turn to Rafinha, last season's best player at the club, and still the engine of Flick's attack. With 3 goals and 2 assists already this year, he hasn't slowed down. His 2024/25 campaign was legendary. 34 goals, 25 assists, and a work rate that saw him cover more kilometres than anyone else in the squad. Without him, Barca don't win the domestic treble. Simple as that. Flick put his trust in him, and Rafinha repaid it by becoming the complete offensive leader. And then comes Flick's crown jewel, Lamine Yamal. At just 18, he is already the best player in the world, and under Flick's strict guidance, he has become unstoppable. The German manager has forced Yamal to stick to the right wing, refining his role and turning him into a nightmare for any defence. The results? Every single match, for Barcelona or Spain, he either scores or assists. Make him angry and he'll score a screamer. Give him freedom and he'll kill you with a goal. Take that freedom away and he'll find an impossible assist. There's simply no way to stop him. Flick's mission in attack is crystal clear. Consolidate Yamal as the most decisive player in the squad, rebuild Rashford's career, and turn him into a consistent threat. Make sure Lewandowski keeps receiving service, prepare Ferran Torres as his successor, and polish Fermin Lopez into the most dominant attacking midfielder on the planet. Alongside that, he wants to feed minutes to Bargy and young prospects like Dro Fernandez, ensuring the future is just as dangerous as the present. This isn't just an attack, it's a nightmare factory. And under Flick's hand, every single one of these players looks like they've been built to destroy Europe.